7 o'clock. All right, so this is the zoning board of appeals meeting on Monday, January 6th at 7 o'clock. Just as an administrative action, David Hartnagel is unable to attend tonight's meeting, and he's asked that I, Andy Demore, chair the meeting, so we'll behave accordingly. Any questions about that? Okay, so we'll call the meeting to order. First order of business is to review the meeting minutes. We can start with the December 9 version of minutes. Okay. We'll give you a minute or two to catch up. David's not going to make it to the meeting tonight. He's on Packard Road, and there's a power outage up there, so he's not able to get to the meeting tonight.
David
had.
Okay, so you're chair?
I am.
Okay. I mean, not good that he's not here, but good that you're chair.
Well, it's good. It's a good one to chair because it's pretty simple. Shouldn't be very controversial unless Ernie's going to act up on it. Okay, any questions, comments, or changes to page 1? Comments, questions, changes, page 2. Comments, questions, changes on page 3. Page 4.
Move to accept the minutes of December 9th. as presented.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion or comments after that? Meeting minutes of December 9th have been approved. Next item will be the meeting minutes of December 23rd, which is a short 2-page.
Move to accept the minutes of December 3rd.
Second.
Any questions, comments? All in favor? Aye. Meeting minutes of December 23rd, reviewed and approved. Okay.
Has anybody appealed the 58 Harvard Road?
No?
No appeals,
Yeah.
as of now.
Okay. Any member updates? I don't have any. Michael, do you have anything?
I will be sending everyone an email tomorrow. Town council is going to be working with different boards and committees, and they're doing a large,
Right.
open.
Denise sent out an email to that effect. Yeah.
You guys all got that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
From Denise?
Yeah.
Okay.
When is that meeting?
I believe it's on the 30th,
Towards the end of the month. Yeah.
29th, I think.
Yeah, that in that range there.
somewhere towards the end.
So there's the a dinner meeting
Gourmet
at
dinner.
her time, and then the actual meeting to facilitate the discussion about open meetings.
Yeah, it's the 29th.
29?
Yeah, Wednesday.
So it's 6:30 dinner, and 7 o'clock the session starts, and should be an email that, if
I
you,
did read it, I just didn't remember the date.
okay, so you should respond to it because they're looking for population head counts if there's gonna be a meal, so they need to
Oh,
plan
okay.
accordingly.
And what's on the menu or?
I don't know, yeah, I think it's filet mignon, is what I read in the footnote. Yeah.
Choice, prime
Right.
rib or filet.
Toasted cheese.
So, we live without a tomato.
Exactly.
Okay, no other updates?
That's it for me.
Okay. There's no correspondence to review here.
Just one thing on the open meeting, just. I was harassed by the state to update my open meeting. I went through their little literature. There was no test like there used to be in the past. Is that the way they're doing it now?
Yes,
That is the way?
yeah,
You told me, I think, last time,
yeah,
but I was
yeah,
making
yeah,
sure.
you just need to go through it and they make you go through the
Yeah,
motions.
right.
And you have to, acknowledge that you did that, but
Yeah.
there's no test to assert that you did it.
They probably realized they weren't doing anything with the information anyway, so.
Right. Okay. So there's a working session for the regs and stuff. Can we just go to the annual report first and do that? Because I did have a question about that. And the question was really more about the way you had annotated. As soon as Ernie flips to the page so I can remember what it is that I wanted to comment on. Do you have a hard copy of it, Mike? No. No, grab that. No, no, he has it. Thank you. So, my question was more about the second page and the physical page here. There's three decisions, and you've described them, there's a heading on them, each one is different. So one is a litigation on decisions under appeal, one is an ongoing litigation, and one is a resolve. So what's the difference between one and two?
So I'm just pulling up the document on my computer. 1 second.
This is the first one not yet in the court. It's
There we
pending.
go.
Yeah, it just, I want to make sure that the wording is
Right.
correct, that's all.
And
Because
maybe
I-
it needs to say pending litigation.
Or some other, right, adjective to describe it, or take one off, or make them both the same.
So with that one, litigation on decisions under appeal, that means that that was a new one, so that appeal came in 2024.
Yeah.
The ongoing litigation were ones that were prior to 2024.
Oh,
And
okay.
they're also before a judge with the one above. I don't, maybe not been heard by a judge.
I guess I'm just, they're still ongoing though, right?
Mhm.
So why would we try to describe one as ongoing and one as not?
I could write new litigation,
Or
just because I wanna,
put the calendar year in front of it or something like that, or so you can separate it that way.
okay, I can put in,
And then the last one that's resolved is just, it's done,
yes, I got confirmation today that that one is.
and you may just annotate that as well if that's, if you want to do that. And then the board would like to thank,
I didn't know if the board would wanna do anything this year, or, last year it was thanking Karen, because she left at the end of 2020, or July 2023.
that's true.
So if
Any
there's.
comments or suggestions?
Always thank Michael.
Yeah.
Could thank Michael, give him a nice bonus, a new chair.
Yeah.
So we can thank Michael, yes,
Yeah.
once you can insert your name and title there, that would be great.
And Valerie also. And Valerie as well.
Okay, any other comments or questions about the annual report?
Oh, good to me.
So do we need to have some kind of a approval for that, or just,
Yes,
okay, so, I'll accept a motion to,
Make a motion to approve the 2024 annual report as written.
Second.
all in favor? Aye. We're gonna just have a couple edits, but that's okay. Okay. So Michael had rendered up a couple of documents.
It's the rules and regulations for the
Rules
appendices.
and regs, so you have any other hard copies of these? Or not?
You need them?
Or just for reference. Okay, so. Has anybody had a chance to comment and offer their suggestions?
Yeah, rather straightforward.
Yeah, they are. There were a couple of edits
In
here.
fact, wait a minute, maybe there's just one of them's got the red lines in it.
There it is.
There it is.
Yeah, okay.
And there's just, that's all this, right, edits. And he added one as far as,
Right. So there was, I had. Okay. There were 3 points that I called out.
I provided print copies at each spot.
Is that what that is?
Yes,
Oh, that's
just
what
to
this.
save some paper.
Oh,
I just took a
that's
copy and
this
sent
one.
you.
Okay. Then let's just go through this in sequence then. Everybody have a copy of this? Okay, so I'm gonna just go through the appendix and start at the first page of the real body here. So, which is page 4.
he's added the accessory apartments
Yep,
and changed the numbering.
yep.
Seemed to be reasonable.
Everybody okay with that? All right. The next change, well, the footings have changed, but that's just typographical kind of stuff. No changes on 6. Page 7. So I made a comment on 2, we're not there yet. Okay, so 2.3. Just putting in a new name there instead of the ZBA. On 2.4.
In the process of eliminating it. so
Right, that's okay. Wouldn't I'll retire now. 2.41.
He's changed the forms,
Yeah.
which are good, because the other
Form,
forms
yep,
were kind of
Yep.
a mess.
Any other comments on page 7? Page 8. So page 8 talks about number of copies. I did have a comment on 2.5, we're not there yet, okay.
Up here, you
Yeah.
question the plans. A copy of the most recent recorded plans and deeds.
Yes,
Those are available at the registry if there was a plan produced.
yes, I didn't know if we wanted to be more specific and say subdivision plans, site plans, or just leave it as plans.
Yeah, if you
Just
try to
leave-
get specific, then you
Cause
too
problems.
narrow, then, yes, if you leave it broad enough, then you can,
They'll be coming to ask you what you mean, but you
Right.
can just say,
Yeah.
whatever plans existed, like from a subdivision or a site plan or something like that.
Okay,
okay, so we can accept that change. Section 2.4.6,
They're just adding copies.
right. So are those the sufficient number of copies of all those different artifacts?
those are all the same that we've had. I just reordered them
Okay,
and I added 2 sets of complete mailing labels because that wasn't specified.
okay.
Oh. The most important thing is to get a PDF. You can do whatever, you can always make copies, extra copies of someone.
Right.
And then actually, that's the question I had. I didn't see in here where it says submit a
Electronic,
copies.
Very first one,
Did I miss it?
2461.
Oh, right, okay, I did completely miss it.
yeah, it's okay. So yes,
Sure.
okay, on page 9, I think it's a continuation and just more about the same, certification for the clerk. 2 sets, 2 sets, what determines if it's applicable. Okay, Michael, so your comment number MS7,
So that was is it about the time of submission? Is it that one, or is it,
It's attached to a
Number
letter,
of copies of the application.
4 copies of the stormwater management report, if applicable.
there's nowhere later on that says when a stormwater report is required or not. So we could add another section to the special permit regulations, or leave it up to the
So
interpretation.
when do we ask for one of those?
Anytime, they really should have some. Like around the lake, we kind of required it because of runoff to the lake, the Conservation Commission kind of requires it.
Right. Or if you live over on Harvard Road and the water's running down your driveway.
Even on, we've almost required every place.
Well, then we should
Just
just,
some of them simple.
just to strike if applicable, put a period at the end of the request.
And if they question it, we can discuss it with them, whether, they probably, before they submit it, they should come and discuss it with us.
Mhm.
To make sure that they understand what they need, like 58 Harvard Road, he needed to come in and discuss.
And maybe we look at the application itself and see if there's a way there to actually facilitate the conversation.
Okay, so just strike if applicable.
Yeah, just put a period at the end of report, at the end of the word report.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Do you
you.
agree?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because then later they can ask for a waiver from it
Yeah.
if they think it's needed.
Yeah.
Okay, comment on 251. Actually, I had just an editorial change. And my change was, it says be required, and there's at the time of submission or at, and I struck the word any. Appropriate times, made that plural. Struck the word in and added during the review process.
That sounds fine.
Well, the one question I have there, it almost makes sense, it sounds like we, I guess we could be asking for multiple reviews at different times,
Correct.
so,
As we go along, we may find, oh, we need some more
Right.
information.
right,
Yeah.
so it sounds good.
Yeah, appropriate is at our discretion, right? That's really what that says. Okay, any other comments or questions on 2.51? How about page 9? Looks like that's the end of that. Go ahead. Thank you.
Page 10,
Page 10, no comments.
that's good.
Okay, page 11, no comments. No changes. Page 12, one comment up there is the appendix number changed, just to be in sync with the changes in the document.
It took us a long time in the past to get all the appendices referenced properly.
Okay, page number 13. Again, it's annotation on numbering and sequencing. Number 14, no changes. Number 15, no changes. Number 16. Okay, this is about the accessory apartments. So I didn't have any changes, except I did have a question on 6.3, Michael. It wasn't clear to me. There's this, the statement that the board must make the following finding pursuant to. Why is that statement there?
May.
That is because with the zoning amendments from December, which are not in the most recently approved zoning bylaw.
Yeah.
Has a section 8121 that requires that the board would make that finding.
Okay,
And that would be triggered if the building commissioner believes that the accessory apartment increases the non-conforming nature of the site.
do you want a word if in front of there? If there is no substantial increase in the non-conforming blah, blah, blah. Because right now it just says we have to do it.
Well, that's what, right, exactly. That was my reaction. Do we have to do that every single time, but only when there's a condition that is prevalent?
Yeah, we might want to say, must make a determination of, if the following finding is met.
Yes.
Or not met.
Yeah,
Or
now,
not.
once it occurs, then the board needs to do something.
Yeah.
So,
We have to use this as our criteria if we're to approve it.
Right.
Or
correct.
if we have a positive finding, how do we
So-
face?
Right now, it just reads like, no matter what, we just have to make this decision.
Right, exactly. I say, this isn't right.
Basically, we can't require special permits
Okay.
for accessory apartments.
Right,
So for non-conforming lots, it's the recommendation of council that the board makes one finding.
That is not
And
increase
that
the
it is not-
non-conforming nature.
It can increase the non-conforming nature, but it cannot
Intensity.
be more detrimental to the neighborhood.
right.
Okay,
And that is all the board is required to do for it. You can make, there's no other findings the board is to make. It's only to make the finding that it's not gonna be more detrimental. to
but if
the
we don't make that finding,
And if you don't make it, then it gets
I
denied.
don't think this covers the negative.
Yeah, it sounds like we have to, no matter
Right.
what.
Yeah, it sounds like we have to make the decision to find that we like it. Does it's not more not, make it not more non-conforming or detrimental to the neighborhood.
So we should make, let me just think about what that statement wants to be.
Well, there's also a different, another thing is, it's also, so there really is no issue about, it doesn't matter whether it's an increase in non-conformity. It sounds like it's only an issue if it's more detrimental.
Right.
So what it really should say, the board must, will make a determination
Whether or not,
whether or not the accessory apartment will be will be substantially detrimental to the neighborhood, or more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing non-conforming structure or use. So the first section really doesn't matter because we're not considering that. We're not considering that as more non-conforming.
So can we actually make a declarative statement that says, I don't have the exact sentence, but that it's the guidance of council that the board should state this one way or the other? Or is that like abdicating our responsibility?
yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, okay. So we are obligated to make a statement, right? The board is obligated, which is what that first sentence does say, right? It says we must. So the board is obligated to make a decision on this, is what we really should say, words to that effect.
Yeah.
And I don't wanna use the word decision because
Yeah, that's
it's
right.
not,
Okay.
It works like they are.
Yeah,
So
If you just put an if in front of there, if this is true, the board can,
or else,
I'd say determination rather
Well,
than decision.
I'd actually say the board
have the following.
must
finding.
make a finding as to whether a,
The board must make a finding.
whether there will be more substantially detrimental
Or not.
or not, yeah. Now, if our finding is it's more detrimental, that means they can't do it.
That's right.
yes,
So in a sense, we're giving them permission to do it.
it's basically just a public hearing
Right.
for the building commissioner done by this board. So,
Because he's looking to us to make the determination that it's detrimental or not to the neighborhood, because he can't do that.
okay, so maybe we just need to take the word must and say the board will or may or shall.
Mhm.
Shall is probably the
Shall,
right
I
word,
would say, yeah.
right. And leave the sentence the way it is.
We don't want shall, how about may?
Well, may is, to me, is you have permission. Can is you have the ability. Shall is one of those words in between.
Can then.
Okay, can is all right too.
can
But
suggest
I
that.
think we've had this conversation
Yeah.
about that particular verb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And shall
Shall.
seems the one that prevails.
shall to me, I've worked with the military all my career, shall says that is the way it has to
Yeah,
be.
okay.
I don't agree with these
Right.
planning turkeys.
So,
So I think let me read the sentence with what I think we just said. That first statement that says the board must, I think we're recommending that we make that say, the board shall make the following finding pursuant to. Just change that one word.
Or must or shall, yeah.
And then,
What if we don't?
and what if we don't?
I mean, I think we have to expand on that and
Yeah,
say,
and if not, then we.
if the,
So
I mean, I would say, if the following statement is true, and we have to word it better than that, but, if the following statement is true, the board, and in that case, the board must make a decision.
true.
And the statement is that to be honest, I cut out the first half and just say, that the such construction, alteration, extension will not be more substantially detrimental to the neighborhood than existing non-conforming structure or use. That's really what we're deciding on.
So that statement that's written there is accurate and can stand on its own. With maybe making the one change that says either if or when or something to that effect, right?
Yeah.
So I'll go back to, why do we need to make the declaration then? What's the best way to make the declaration that says we must or may or can? It's really that first sentence that I'm poking at.
We're making the finding that it's not more detrimental to the neighborhood.
I get all that.
Yeah.
I'm just questioning the way this statement is written.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I think, it's really, the board must make a decision whether or not
just a finding.
whether it's more detrimental, and issue a finding on that decision, or that.
Okay, so the board must issue a finding.
A finding, one way or the other, whether, and so if, a board must.
Okay, yeah, so, okay.
Make,
think
must
you
make
got
the
it.
following, must make a finding pursuant to that, as to whether, the such reconstruction, et cetera, will be.
I think you got it. So that's the statement, the declarative statement that's here now, I think you just hit it, Andy. The board must make a finding. Just take out the finding, the following rather, take out that phrase. Must make a finding pursuant to the law. Boom. The next sentence says what we were gonna say. And then in that next sentence, it says, if there is.
Yeah.
How's that sound? Because it's the,
Well, what we're defining is whether or not there is more detrimental.
right, but if we change the sentence, right?
Yeah.
The first sentence says, we'll make a finding,
Right,
right? We don't know if it's detrimental or not.
right. And that's what I'm thinking, at the end, say, as to whether, make it one big long sentence.
As to whether this, and add, concatenate the sentence?
Yeah.
Oh,
Because I think that'd be a little clearer.
what do you think?
Go for it. We may exchange it. We later decide.
Yeah, okay, I like that. That's good. That's a good compromise, I think. So the board must make a finding, take out the word the following and add a, and then section 397 of the zoning bylaw, colon, and then put that sentence right there.
Yeah, and, as to whether, well, again, do we need that first half of the sentence there, because we're not making a determination on that? From what I understand, it's only
Okay.
whether it's more detrimental.
Okay,
So as to whether such reconstruction, alteration, extension will not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
existing
yeah.
non-conforming structure or use.
We have to make two, there's substantial increase in the nonconformity as well as the neighborhood.
Well, I thought I understood, Michael, that first half really, that we're not making a determination whether it's substantially increasing, because we've been told that it doesn't matter.
Right,
Right,
So we can get rid of that first half of the sentence.
yes.
right. Yeah, so chop that statement down. And we'll review it again the next time we all get together to see if it came out the way we think it should. Rather than spend too much more time on that, because I think that's gonna distill it down to the point where I think we get it right.
Can the applicant appeal?
I don't know.
Well, why not? I mean, any permit can be appealed.
This
right?
this is a building permit, I
Yeah,
guess.
any appeal, yeah, but why, you don't have to say,
All we're doing is supporting the
Right.
building inspector, so it's not our problem.
right, we don't need to say it.
This is kind of off topic, but if they appeal the building, the not getting the permit, does it come to us or does it skip us because we made the finding?
Let's worry about that if it happens.
Well, exactly, as I say,
Let's just
Not
approve them all, we won't worry about it.
Okay, good. Moving along.
I'd be careful about saying that though, considering how my comment went
Yeah.
wrong.
Section 7, there's a comment here on 6.1. Okay, there, let's get back to the page here. Okay. So it's actually 7 is the new number, so I get a little
No, it's here.
confused here. So 7.1, right? The zoning, ZBA shall file a copy of its decision with the town clerk and shall forward a copy of the applicant. Oh, I just did a no, comma, applicant, comma, abutters, comma, and any other party requesting the same. Just change the words a little bit. And added a comment.
I don't know why you have to add that, but that's,
Oh, I'm an English guy,
okay.
right? Commas go in certain places as far as,
I mean, wouldn't it be easier to say a copy to all people who request it? I mean, it doesn't really
are
matter.
there two requesting parties?
To requesting
Well,
parties.
if, that just goes with, they send the ones, the abutters, like they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Anybody else that want it, they have to ask for it, and there's no reason to deny it.
Right,
It's
Right,
public
exactly.
record.
Yeah,
okay, so then to say and to other parties as needed,
or as requested.
as requested,
Yeah, okay.
okay. Okay. That was the last note on that page.
Yeah, the
Then
accessory
7, yeah,
apartments,
so 7,
changes of uses.
yeah. Any other comments on page 17? All right. 18 is just pagination numbers. 19, no comments, and that's the end of it.
And then we get into the,
Okay, so that's that.
Oh, I did have one
Yep,
comment on that
sure,
one.
go ahead.
On the second paragraph or sentence, the only members of the ZBA who are attendance of all sessions or the public hearing. Yeah.
What point is it?
Sorry, it's just before 6.1.
Okay, notice
Or
of
7.1,
decision.
whatever it is, 7.6.1. So I thought we allow people, members or associate members who watch the video to also vote if they can't attend the meeting. Do we want to add that as a
We can
additional?
either actively or virtually. What's the opposite of virtual? In person, not virtually.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, basically, what I'm getting to is not in attendance, but it's really the idea that if people after the meeting go and watch the hearing,
Yes,
they are also allowed to vote.
so I think if you're a member or an
Yeah.
associate and you aren't at the meeting.
Yeah.
Or you miss a meeting,
Right.
right? you can go back and read or listen or watch
Right.
the recording.
Yeah.
So that satisfies your need to be active and up to date on.
Exactly.
particular
Well, that's
hearing.
what I'm thinking. What I'm thinking is we need to reword that because right now it's saying in attendance.
But I know, so the only, I hear what you're saying, but I would counter with saying, when he writes the meeting minutes,
Mhm.
we do describe how you attended the meeting.
Right.
So how would we describe if you did it after the fact?
Well, that's the question, because right now, the way this is written,
Right.
people were not allowed to vote if we're not in attendance at the meeting. Whereas we actually allow people to.
State law allows you to vote if you can only miss one meeting and then you can recover it with minutes or video
Right.
or whatever.
Right, well, I guess what I'm saying is we probably should reword that to notice it, to give notice that that is also an allowable way to allow members to vote, or else people are gonna say, hey, they weren't in attendance, why are they voting?
Or you could say satisfy their attendance requirement.
Yeah, but I think we should specify what the requirement is.
Yeah, that's,
That is written down. We don't need to do that. It's already been articulated as to what the attendance requirement is.
where,
Michael, where is it described how you can actually facilitate being in attendance?
How, in the rules and regs,
Yeah.
or
So is there some governing, so we all believe there is a way for a person to do what they need to do to catch up,
yes,
right? Where is that described?
that's Mullen's rule.
Okay,
Yes,
So-
I never remember the name of that mall.
Yes.
so that's already been described in its
State
case
law.
law.
So-
I
so we could say-
understood,
yeah,
but it's
we could
not
say-
in here where people,
No, no.
where people who want to
All right.
apply.
So we could say in attendance or pursuant to Mullen's rule. And that will cover the
Okay.
issue of, the recording.
I mean, yeah, I mean,
Because why I'm resisting that
okay,
is as soon as you put a definition in here and it changes outside of your realm, then you gotta go back and update your document. But if you
presumably
allude to
Mullen's-
something that's already there, it's just,
that's fine, I mean,
Yeah.
people are gonna come say, what the heck is that?
It's okay.
That's fine too,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
It's like, what's
Okay.
Mullen's rule? Well, let them look it up.
yeah. Okay, what else?
that's it on that page for me, I say, that just caught my attention, so.
That's okay, good. So I think we just went through the whole document. You can make those edits and then put it on the agenda, maybe the next time, just do a quick review or something.
Would you like to go over any of the appendices?
No, we're not done with just this particular artifact. I think we'll just use this process for each artifact, right? Is that okay? Or were you expecting us to get everything concluded tonight?
I was thinking if we could go through everything tonight, I can make the edits. At the next meeting, we can kind of finalize it,
Yeah, okay,
and then in March, we'll hold a public hearing to make them effective.
okay, fine. So good. So we'll make these changes that we just talked about. Next meeting, we'll put it on the agenda that we'll do a quick review and decide what's gonna happen. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, next artifact is the, actually application itself. Town of Stow zoning board of appeals application form. This one's it.
I printed off a new copy of page 3 for everyone with.
Yeah, I got that. So my first observation here, Michael, is in your sidebar instructions. On the bottom, you have a double line for page and volume and page. Is that intentional?
Yes,
So what do I know? What do I put there? Or is that just for you?
that's for me and
The-
the town clerk.
So what's the second line do?
Sometimes if you apply for a special permit and a variance, they need to be separate book and page numbers. It's the way that we organize
Okay.
our files.
Okay. I didn't know if it was just the remnant that you did a cut and paste or something,
Oh.
it just was hanging around.
No.
Okay, good.
Other than that, it covers the issues.
Yeah. So is this where we want to do anything about the water issue that we talked about earlier?
I mean, whether they need a.
Where they need the
wetlands.
wetlands
No,
or the
well, it
groundwater?
may show up in one of these, but it wasn't like here. should be in this
Right.
list.
That's separate.
Well, this is the same.
Oh, is that, oh,
It's
okay,
updated.
yeah, got it.
So here are the sections that apply.
Yeah.
Things that we can hear.
Yep.
I think it's got the accessory apartment in there, or not. Oh, accessory apartments. right?
Yeah, done there. Yeah, it looks good. Any comments, changes, suggestions?
That looks very good.
And that was page 2. On page 3, there's a new page 3. And I just made a recommendation as to the statement at the top, to just be very clear and specific about what an applicant needs to take care of. Any other
Do
changes?
we want to put add the ones with the floodwaters or no?
Well, he's, I'm over here that says flood water, right?
That's
Floodplain.
not the floodplain, that's
Floodplain,
different,
okay,
but
okay, different, right.
this is the drainage.
Stormwater.
Stormwater,
You want to add stormwater?
where are we gonna add it? As a separate line item?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anything else on page 3? What's
Yeah, I
on,
never understood what,
what, the impact statement?
yeah. It doesn't really provide any information, but that's. Development impact statements more for subdivisions and things like that. Large developments.
But this is one application for one size fits all.
This is for a special permit, that's all.
Right.
Well, I guess it's like
Right.
40B is a big one. Okay.
So, Michael, when here we talk about the third bullet, signed architectural, should that be signed or?
That
Sign.
is talking about actual signs.
Oh, like a post.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
and post in our section 7, signed
Okay.
by law, or wherever it is, signed by law tells you. In certain cases, you.
Would it be less
Feel what the,
potentially confusing by
whatever
saying
it is.
signage versus sign?
Well, that's why I thought, I said, if I'm signing something, this is not what it is.
It's not
It's
signing.
about, it's not about signing, it's the physical sign itself.
Yeah,
so signage architectural plans.
Yeah, I think that's a better way to say that. Otherwise, I would be signing the plan. Okay, anything else on page 3? And page 4 is pretty much stands on its own.
do we want underneath the trust corporation and company knowledge and consent? Do we want to have a note saying, please include board or members signed consent or board consent?
Okay,
Because somewhere in there, I did see something about the board approval being submitted to, maybe just under a reminder, have that with that, so.
Hmm.
so this board,
No, board of directors for a company,
Oh,
or trustee, or board of trustees.
Do you know that's really the person? You,
To make sure that they took the vote and had the authorization.
yeah,
I can add a statement under there.
also name the company.
And title, person's title.
Good one. Anything else on page 4? Okay,
No, that's a development.
so the next artifact here is the special permit development impact statement. And so the intent here is to use this as a checklist for the applicant.
Yes.
There's drainage calculations.
Right. So if I don't need it, I'm just gonna put an NA in the box.
And this has not changed. I
Right,
just reformatted it.
Yeah.
So,
that looks good. And so these are all soft copies. The applicant would actually fill this out as a hard copy. Do we have any, what's the tool that I'm thinking of that you can actually annotate the soft copy and then put your remarks right on it and then print it? You know how you can do electronic signatures or approvals? Could we use that convention for something like this or not?
yes.
I
So,
think that's feasible.
well, I think what we can do is the top paragraph could say that you have to write out or check that these are included. But I can make these like actual checkboxes for people going through. Is that what you're?
Well, yeah, right, so I don't know if you've gotten a contract or something in the mail, since, you know, you can go through this and when you click the thing, it actually populates the answer and goes right onto the form, and then you could save the form or print it or do whatever you want.
Yes.
So if we could use that style on these documents, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yes, I have that capability.
What does everybody else think?
Yeah, I think it's good, because you'll get something you can read.
Yeah.
Instead of my handwriting, where, you know.
And so if that's the case, do we need to put a little signature block on this that says, I, Andy Demore, approved, or I did write this? Or is that inherent in the application itself?
I don't think it's necessary.
Okay,
Um,
Does the state allow electronic signatures?
Yes,
Okay, I figured they
yeah,
did,
yeah,
so,
unless it's something that needs to be notarized.
right, right.
But that's
Yeah.
obvious.
okay. All right, well, that'd be cool if we could do that. Okay, this is a new one, isn't it? Permission to continue?
No, that's a new form.
It's a new form,
We've had
yeah,
one.
right.
You've been signing it.
Yeah.
Which one is that?
It's actually,
Appendix 3.
yeah.
Okay, it's okay, continuation. Okay, just one.
So the effective date, so one thing that had just occurred to me. There's no document number per se, that we haven't really assigned this a physical artifact number. Do you have a document control system at all in the archives? Should we have a document number for this?
We could have one.
Just makes it pretty clear and simple. That way, you know what it is and it's on file and,
I store each of these separately, but I don't necessarily give them a number. I just write, I use what's at the bottom.
yeah, I see that. I'm just thinking, I'm not trying to create busy work, I'm just trying to be clear about document management, that's all. If
We
that,
don't have that many documents.
Right.
That we've created. We've got this one, the comprehensive permit.
right. But I mean, in the archives itself, is there a numbering scheme or system that you use to?
Dates.
I've been looking at just the overall scheme of
The
documents that they manage.
over, like, for the ZBA's documents that I have access to, it's all just by date.
Yeah.
And I have separate folders for specific, like, artifacts, I guess.
And bylaws are also
And-
just by date.
Right.
And then for documents that are for the official record, that's with the town clerk. I don't know how she organizes that.
Yeah, okay, fine. Okay, I'm not gonna overprocess that. Any questions or comments on that document, the permissions document? Good,
That looks good.
okay. Request for petition withdrawal. Any questions, comments, concerns?
No, it looks, that's straightforward.
Yeah. I like the format, Michael, did a good job.
Yeah.
And both.
Yeah, right, yeah. Pre-existing non-conforming lot justification. Dates. of prior. Lenny, any comment on the assessors map statement down there? Okay. That one looks good. Okay, so this little table, it's interesting. When would I use this? As an applicant?
It would be used if you're using appendix 5 for the non-conforming lot justification.
Okay,
One thing is, no, this actually, this doesn't necessarily bring us to today's
Yeah.
zone, does it?
yeah,
Because I was looking at, right, what was I looking at? I thought residential was higher than 35.
so which one?
The residential minimum lot. Is this 35?
What year?
Oh, it should say 65.
Yeah, as I was looking at that, I said, that seems a little low.
Which one is it?
It's right here.
Oh,
This is it.
oh, no, I like that number.
A lot of people would.
Find it.
Oh.
That's a good catch. Yeah.
I do look at stuff sometimes.
Yes, just from a historical perspective, this is good information.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it's good.
My house was built to this. Yeah,
Well, that's, yeah, I'm in that same bailiwick.
everybody, most of the
Right,
towns.
yeah,
in that
most,
bailiwick.
yeah, because we decided at town meeting that we needed to change that, but okay. All right. I think that's the last page of the last. Right,
Yes, that is.
okay, any other comments, questions, concerns, issues?
Looks good.
I think we hit all the agenda items. We did the annual review. We did the regs. We're good. Looking forward. Do we have anything going in February?
No, I have not received any
Nothing?
applications.
Yeah,
So
okay.
we're good for another month.
Cool, they don't like us.
The only thing that, well, two things. Are there any items you want to add to the rules and regulations to make special permit processes easier, variances easier, or clearer for the applicant or for the board?
the variances, we've already discussed the variances. I think we need to come up with a little bit more description of when they apply and when they don't apply.
When they apply or how they need to be before they can actually be approved, what the criteria or,
Well, the criteria, we just, it's
Right.
in there,
right,
but the fact that this, our bylaw basically says a non-conforming lot comes to the board, ZBA for approval, and we don't, the variances aren't really in play. The variance is only required if you have a conforming lot and want to make it non-conforming. If we have a non-conforming lot and someone wants to do something extreme with it, we might want to require them to have a variance, but I think it's our decision. In the past, the past boards have given a lot of variances.
yeah, we did,
We
yeah,
didn't need to,
we didn't have to, right, exactly.
and because
Until we got
3-9
straightened out, right.
Yeah.
The attorney
So
gave us the.
basically, if you have a conforming lot and you want to do something and there's a problem because of those three, any of the three criteria, and it's a hardship, the variance is in order. But if you have a non-conforming lot, we just have to find that it's not detrimental in neighborhood and conforms to the other
Right,
like structures in the neighborhood.
so you think that you'd like to have that
Spelled out.
better described?
At some point, I'd love to have a conversation about what we actually mean by detrimental, because I think that, I mean, that's something I bang my head against, whenever we're looking at these things, what is, how do you define detrimental?
Well, I think it's defined in here.
Another way I think about that is compatibility, right?
Yeah.
So if you're gonna build in fact, we had a situation, somebody wanted to build a storage barn that was absolutely ugly. And it was not compatible, AKA detrimental to the neighborhood.
So. All right, so I'll have to go back in and look at this, so.
So while he's reading that, I think that we should figure out, maybe in February, if there's nothing going on, we could work on that in February. To make that adjustment or change.
Don't you agree? We need something in there for it?
I think it would be helpful to have it as a policy instead of within the rules and regulations.
Okay.
So a lot of other boards have their rules and regulations and then the policies.
Does the applicant read the policy?
You can always hand it to them, here's.
Okay, I'm just trying to make sure that, it's
There's-
simplified, right? You don't want to make an extra burden here, so if it's a separate artifact, that's one thing. If it's all, here you go, it's all in there. Have any questions, let me know. Okay, so if that's how you facilitate that engagement, okay, that's fine.
And then I didn't know if the board would want to do any other policies. Some boards do community or public input policies, things like that, or if that's something needed.
Let's hope. Personally, I don't think.
I have no problem with them coming to the meeting and stating their position. We say there's a 3-minute limit. But we never, enforce that. Like when Stiles was here, she went on for half an hour.
Yeah, Dave did a pretty good job.
Yeah, he did that.
He did a very good job. I think he's pretty clear about it when he opens the hearing and gives that little speech.
Yeah.
And then it's just about managing the participants, but yeah.
That speech that he gives, that might be a nice policy to put in there, just here's how we conduct our meetings. And
Actually, I think, well, I know it's written down.
It's
I have it
written
written
down.
down, yeah, so we should maybe make that a policy.
I can,
Yeah.
and I can add some of that to the website too,
Yeah.
just so that we're a little bit clearer with the public when they go into a public hearing, what to expect.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good. That's a good one.
I will say something though, reading that, I think she had detrimental to her view. But it became a moot point once we realized
Okay,
that
with the drawing,
it
so,
really wasn't anything we could rule on.
he can put up a fence.
It would
8
do-
foot high, 1 foot from the property line.
it would do exactly the same thing, if not worse.
It'd be worse.
Yeah, no, it
Well,
would be worse.
but the one thing about the fence,
So before we have this, any more of this conversation, I think we need to be clear if we can actually have this conversation. I don't think
No,
we
we're
we
can.
not
can't
having
have a
a
conversation, okay?
Yeah, okay.
Theoretically,
It's a policy.
we're speaking
Yeah.
theoretically now about
Yeah,
fences.
right.
If somebody were to put up an opaque fence that, not a chain link, but one that blocked, say, sunlight, that could be considered nuisance in that particular situation. I'm just speaking hypothetically, I'm not saying in this case.
Okay. Any other agenda items that we need to talk about? Any other topics you want to have policyized?
Fencing?
All right, I'll
Oh,
in.
I do have one other
Okay.
thing we need to address. Sheds, I think we should submit a change to bylaws to permit sheds and to specify what they can do.
Okay, you have a recommendation, want to write one up?
Yeah, I'll write it.
Okay. Yeah. Do that, we can put it on review for next meeting. So as an agenda item, maybe we just have a general review of documents in flight and, a review, not a workshop, and just, allocate 15 minutes for it at the end of the meeting.
Okay.
If there are any other things that show up,
I can,
yeah. So if you get something between now and then, put this at the end, right? Anything else? Can I hear another motion?
Move, we adjourn the meeting at 8 o'clock.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Meeting adjourned at 8 PM.
Yeah, it's almost right.
Yeah.
First time seeing it.